Hello class, this is Mr. Johnson here. In this video, I'm going to show you how I want, how I expect, how I require any homework, any assignment, any problem set. This is the format that I require, that I want you to do that assignment in. I'll also tell you why that's the case. I'll give you some reason. And some of the content will be, how to show work, and some other details of assignments that I want. So I'm sharing my screen now. First off, I want all work to be done on some kind of lined paper. I don't want the notebook paper where you have the frilly edge that you tear out, for example. Don't do that. I want it on lined paper or graph paper or engineering paper with kind of clear edges without the messy little frill on the side. So on your paper, I want you to have the date. So as you can hopefully see on this camera, for me, today's date is 29/01/2022. I generally put a box around that date, but that is optional for you. What else I want to have for information? So I'm just going to take a random problem out of a book, for example. So my problem will be, let's say, exercise 10A, 10A. Underline that. And I'll just choose, again, just randomly, problem 4. Problem 4. Across from the date, by the way, I want your page number. So this is page 1 of this assignment. So page 1 slash and however many pages long this assignment ends up being. If I keep going, it ends up being 2 pages, 3 pages, whatever. So the first page will be 1 of, the second page will be 2 of, third page will be 3 of, and then when you finish, go back and put 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. So that way, you know how many pages long the assignment is. Keeps you nice and organized. So this problem is solve for x dot dot. Sorry, it's actually 4a, 4a. And the problem itself is 2x plus 8, x plus 8 plus 5, x minus 1, bracket, equals 6. So we have very clearly here what problem set it is, what you're supposed to achieve in this problem, solve for x, and your initial problem. So as you see here, I've numbered and labeled what the problem is. I have the instructions. Now I will label my steps. Actually, I'll just bring this down one level. With homework, when you're working on an assignment, it's good to have lots of space. And it's not good to cram everything together. It makes it difficult to read. And when you have a lot of space, it helps to keep your thought process clear and structured and organized. So step 1, this is me showing my work. So 2 times x would be 2x, then 2 times plus 2 times 8 would be 16 equals 5 times x minus 5 times 1, which is 5, equals 6. Now there's some intermediate work there I've kind of just essentially done in my head and not shown, like 2 times 8. I could have written that out, but I'll let you use your judgment in terms of how much detail, how much resolution that you have on these problems. Generally speaking, though, the more the better, because people can understand your thought process. Mathematics is very sequential learning progression. It's also very sequential in the way we do work. Now, step 2, collect like terms. So I bring the 5x over, or the 2x over, is kind of whichever I prefer. Oh, oops, I made a mistake already. That should be a plus sign. That should be a plus sign. So collecting like terms. So 2x plus 5x is 7x, and 16 minus 5 is plus 11. Plus 11 equals 6. and so on and so forth. I'll just continue through this problem. We want to get 7x by itself. So 7x equals 6 minus 11 would be -5. And then we solve for x. So we divide both sides by 7, which ends up being -5 divided by 7. So when you've got your solution, you got your answer, I want you to put a box around that answer and an arrow from the right pointing left to that solution. So that's kind of the simple basic format that I want you to subscribe to. And so I'll just make an assumption here. That's the whole assignment, which normally it won't be. So it's 1 page. So 1 page of 1 page. So I know how long your assignment is. So this method, so why am I doing this? Why am I making you do this? Because Mr. Johnson likes being a pedantic jerk. No, that's not the case at all. So this method was taught to me by a person earlier in my life that was quite influential on my life trajectory. His name was Ron. He was one of my early professors, and he was also a captain in the US Navy that worked aboard nuclear submarines. So this is actually a military, this is a Navy method or an adaptation of that method that I've developed. So I've used this for the last 20 years in all the work I've done all through university, even in high school a little bit, an adaptation of this. For most of my adult life, I've used this process in all of my problem solving, even in my professional life through 10 years of engineering. And the reason we do this is it helps you to become structured, methodical, sequential, and organized in your approach to problem solving. And that's really important to establish when the problems are easier to solve. The problems are simpler to solve, because problems generally, as we progress through life, problems get bigger and more sophisticated and harder to figure out. So if we have good systems in place to have that ordered thought process, that ordered structure, it'll make our life easier, and it'll make problem solving a lot easier. So, and easier is generally good when we're trying to figure things out. What else? Again, it's good to have lots of space in your workflow and your work progression. So let's just assume that there's another problem in this set. So I'll say it's 4B. I maintain a little space, 4B, and then so on and so forth. You can write your problem down and follow the same process. That's about it for those two topics, how and why. Lastly, my own attitude towards homework. In New Zealand, where I'm assuming I'm giving this to New Zealand classes, New Zealand students, but in New Zealand, it seems to be less common to assign homework. But in other countries I've lived in, most countries I've seen ever, that's about out of 25, 30 countries, the norm is to have homework. You have homework every night. It doesn't have to be a lot, just smaller manageable bits, but my own opinion is that homework every night is good for reinforcing learning. Learning requires repetition and reinforcement. So if we do it frequently every day, it helps us to learn faster, better, and to a greater depth. So I personally think homework's very important. In New Zealand, from me, expect to have homework every day. It will generally be optional, but I cannot emphasize enough, encourage enough for you to give that homework a go. And if you're serious about learning mathematics, serious about that learning progression and becoming skilled, I highly recommend you follow this process, this format, and do that homework every day. So that's about all I have today. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you later. Take care.